Welcome back to the Accessible Art History YouTube channel. Today, our video is based on a suggestion from a friend of the channel named Allison. She's an avid fan of the game Animal Crossing: New Horizons and told me there's an amazing art feature. There's a character named Cousin Red who's an art dealer. The fun part is that the art of the game is actually based on pieces from real life. This is so exciting because it's a great way for new people to discover the joy of art history. So, we thought it would be fun to explore the art found in the game. This video will focus on 5 pieces, so make sure to subscribe to see the other ones. After doing some research, I was pleased to find out that there's a great mix of Western and non-Western art in the game. I also read that Cousin Red is a bit of a shady character. Some of the art he sells has the possibility of being fake. Hopefully, after watching this video, you'll be able to spot them and avoid getting swindled. Our first work is one of the most famous Japanese woodblock prints in history. It is called The Great Wave off Kanagawa and is by artist Hokusai. He created it between 1829 and 33 as a part of his 36 Views on Mount Fuji series. This series of prints celebrated the mountain, which is a source of pride and identity for the Japanese people. However, in this work, the mountain is relegated to the background. Instead, a giant wave dominates the space, threatening to overtake 3 boats. Together with Mount Fuji, Hokusai shows the viewer the sheer power of nature. This print became famous almost immediately after its creation. Because the original was carved into a wooden block, almost 5,000 copies were made during Hokusai's lifetime. When Japan opened its borders to the West in 1853, the copies made their way around the world. They inspired Impressionist artists and impacted Western art for generations after. Today, many major museums around the world have these copies so that modern-day viewers can enjoy this beautiful work. Similar to the Great Wave, our next work is also a symbol of national pride. The Fighting Temeraire was painted by J.M.W. Turner, an Englishman, in 1838. It shows a grand warship being pulled down the River Thames by a tugboat. She is on her way to a junkyard to be taken apart for scrap. The ship in this work is the HMS Temeraire, and she played a key part in the Battle of Trafalgar. This was an incredibly important British victory during the Napoleonic Wars, but she was old and it was time for her to be cycled into something new. J.M.W. Turner is famous for his use of hazy brushstrokes and natural light. In this work, the sun is setting, filling the sky with an array of colors. This gives the scene a sense of conflicting emotion. On one hand, it seems mournful because the Temeraire is on her last journey. The Industrial Revolution is on the horizon and her parts are needed to fuel it. But on the other hand, it is a final moment of triumph and victory. This work has resonated with Britain for generations. In 2005, it was voted as the country's favorite painting. This led to it being put on the 20-pound note starting in 2020. Our next work shifts from the romantic to the realistic. The Gleaners was painted by Jean-François Millet in 1857. It shows 3 peasant women harvesting wheat in a field. The sun beats down on them as they perform this backbreaking work. This was the center point of the realist movement. By focusing on the lower classes doing their everyday jobs, it highlighted just how important they were to the survival of the nation. However, almost as expected, Millet's work received heavy criticism from the upper echelon of society. First off, it reminded them too much of the uprising that led to the Second French Revolution of 1848. By turning the focus onto the lower classes, they were worried it could lead to another revolt because they would form grandiose ideas of their own importance. Additionally, this work was monumental in size. This in itself was insulting because this size work was almost always reserved for history and mythological paintings. Speaking of mythological paintings, this work is one of the most famous. It was painted by Sandro Botticelli in the 1480s and shows the legend of the birth of Venus. She's floating on a seashell, blown gently ashore by the god of wind Zephyr. A nymph waits for Venus to disembark, holding a cloth to dress her in. It is a stunning mythological scene that speaks of beauty and grace. There are many elements of this work that are characteristic of the High Renaissance. First is the use of bright, intensely pigmented colors. It creates an almost otherworldly effect. Next, there's a straight, nearly mathematical composition. The work is divided into 3 equal parts. Each plays a key place in the story as it reads from left to right. Finally, there's an allusion to the classical ancient Roman sculpture. Venus's pose, which modestly covers her nudity, is based on the famous statue, the Venus Pudica. It was discovered in Italy during this time and was used by many artists as inspiration. The Venus Pudica was not the only ancient sculpture that was widely used as inspiration in art. Discovered in 1863, the winged Nike of Samothrace is an ancient Greek sculpture dating from around the 2nd century BCE. It is one of the few surviving statues from this period. Most that we have are actually Roman copies from a later date. In Greek mythology, Nike is the goddess of victory. Standing at just over 8 feet high, she is truly a sight to behold. Although she is missing her head, the viewer can see that Nike is in motion. She confidently strides forward as her dress whips out behind her. It is wet and clings to her body. This has led art historians to believe that she was created in celebration of a naval victory. Regardless, it is a stunning work of ancient sculpture. These are just 5 of the works that can be seen in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Hopefully, you were able to learn some fun facts and how to spot the fakes so that Cousin Red doesn't take your money. Keep an eye out for another video coming soon where we will discuss 5 more pieces.